Jared Verse completely flipped expectations in his first press conference as a Cleveland Brown. After his shock trade from the Rams, the young pass rusher admitted he was initially disappointed, before switching tone with a bold message about his new team. Stick around to hear the undefeated promise Verse made that left the room stunned. Nobody wins NFL games in June, and nobody earns Pro Bowl honors for a press conference. But for the Cleveland Browns and their supporters, the introduction of new defensive edge Jared Verse on Wednesday could not have gone much better. Here's the thing. When a new player gets traded to a franchise with the Browns' track record, you expect something vague, something diplomatic. A lot of "I'm just excited to be here" and not much else. That's not what Cleveland got. That was a shock to the system for Verse, who did not mince words about how he felt in the immediate aftermath of the deal. "It caught me by surprise," he said. I loved LA. I loved the coaches, the organization, my teammates, everybody a part of it." He said it in front of the whole room. He said he was upset. He said this wasn't where he saw himself. And then he kept going, "It was upsetting. I was upset for a good little bit of time," Verse said during his introductory press conference. "But when you're an athlete, you understand the nature of business." That line right there, that's what cut through. Because Verse wasn't being bitter for the sake of it. He was being honest in a league full of PR-trained non-answers. And it landed hard with people, because they knew exactly what he was really saying. He had been on a Super Bowl contender. Through 2 seasons in LA, he had put up 12 sacks, 22 tackles for loss, and 189 total pressures. He was leaving an organization that made the NFC Championship game in 2025 and was gearing up for another run at the Lombardi Trophy. Now he was in Berea, Ohio. Verse was honest in expressing his disappointment at having been dealt by the Super Bowl favorites, the Rams, to a team that has one playoff win in the last 3 decades. And even with all that in the air, even with the grief of leaving LA still raw, he didn't stop there. Because Verse isn't that guy, the guy who mopes, the guy who sulks through OTAs with his hoodie up and his head down. He's something else entirely. He's something else entirely. When a reporter pressed him, asked him to go deeper on the upset comment, he pivoted into something that stopped the room cold. "It's a different type of feeling," Verse said. "I've always been doubted my whole life. Out of high school, I had one offer going into college, and leaving college, I was less doubted, but still had the little chip on my shoulder and everything like that. It definitely puts the chip back on my shoulder." That's the line that matters, that chip. Because when you understand where Jared Verse actually came from, you start to understand why the way he showed up. In Cleveland, unfiltered, unapologetic, loud, wasn't reckless. It was completely, entirely on brand. And it was the same energy he's been carrying since before most people knew his name. He was also clear on his identity. "My job is to be the best me. If I'm the best me, I'm not going to be Myles Garrett. I'm not going to be Max Crosby. This guy, that guy, the best players in the league. I'm going to be the best Jared," he said. The best Jared. Not the next Myles, not a consolation prize, the best version of himself. And he was promising, in front of cameras, that version would be the best defensive player in the league. That's not a quiet arrival. That's a declaration. To understand why Jared Verse walks into rooms the way he does, chest out, chip-loaded, words sharp, you have to go back, way back, before the Pro Bowls and the playoff games and the Defensive Rookie of the Year trophy, back to a kid in rural Pennsylvania with one college offer and a dream that almost didn't happen. Verse was born in Dayton, Ohio. He grew up in Berwick, Pennsylvania, and later moved to Greenville, North Carolina. He was a kid who bounced around, who played high school ball at Central Columbia, not exactly a pipeline school for NFL prospects. Playing defensive end and tight end for the Blue Jays, Verse earned 3 straight All-Pennsylvania Heartland Athletic Conference honors, 3-time All-Conference. And still, despite being a 3-time All-Conference player in high school, he had only one college offer, one. At a time when recruiters were lining up for anyone with a pulse. And a 4.5, Verse couldn't get programs to return his calls. He took the one door that opened. That door led to Albany, FCS football. Not the Power 5, not the big stage, not the Saturday afternoon games on ESPN. Verse was the 2020 CAA Defensive Rookie of the Year with Albany. And even that excellence at a smaller level wasn't enough to make the big programs come to him. He had to go to them. He transferred to Florida State. He physically transformed during his 2 seasons at FSU and expanded his game to become a more well-rounded player. beyond the high-effort physical freak that he was at Albany. Verse simply got better and better over the course of his college career, going from 36 quarterback pressures in 2021 at Albany to 36 in his first season at FSU after a jump in competition to 62 in his final season. He was a first-team All-ACC member in 2022 with 47 tackles and 9 sacks, and again in 2023 with 41 tackles and another 9 sacks. He was relentless. Those who walked past FSU's practice facility could frequently see Verse working outside, often by himself, or with a few teammates, during downtime to hone his craft. According to NFL media analyst Daniel Jeremiah, Verse had the fastest 40-yard dash time by anyone at the combine with 33+ inch arm length and 30+ bench press reps in the last decade. And who was the only other player in that company? The man he was now being traded for, Myles Garrett. Jared Verse ran a 4.58. Garrett ran a 4.64. There's something poetic in that. The man replacing Garrett at a combine measurables level was now literally replacing him at the franchise level too. Verse was selected by the Rams in the first round, 19th overall of the 2024 NFL Draft. And then he went to work. He recorded his first career sack in a 26-20 overtime loss in his NFL debut on Sunday Night Football. In the wild card round against the Minnesota Vikings, Verse scored his first career NFL touchdown on a 57-yard fumble recovery to help lead the Rams to a 27-9 win, with Verse now on the Browns, being the 2024 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Cleveland now has the last 2 players to win that distinction on their current roster, as linebacker Carson Schwessinger won it for 2025. Verse has been in the NFL for 2 seasons and was voted to the Pro Bowl both years. So when he stepped to that podium in Berea, this isn't some guy who fluked his way into the league and got lucky. This is a man who clawed for every inch of this career. 1 offer, 1 shot, 2 Pro Bowls, and now a chip on his shoulder the size of the state of Ohio. He admitted that he never even watched football on TV until he was a college football athlete. Never even watched it. The sport that would define his life, he came to it late, learned it fast, and became one of the best at it anyway. That kind of story doesn't produce careful players. It produces ones who play angry, and Verse told Cleveland exactly that. When a reporter asked Jared Verse to describe his game, he didn't pull any punches. He didn't reach for a safe cliche about effort or technique or scheme fit. He went somewhere else entirely, and the room shifted. It's violent. It's very mean. It's very, why are you in my way? I play angry because why do you think you can block me? And if they game plan for me, I've got something else for you. It's a very violent game against me. Sit with that for a second. Because that's not how players usually describe themselves to a press room full of reporters on day 1 with a new franchise. That's not media training. That's not calculated brand management. That's a man telling you in plain language who he is when the lights come on. Verse caught significant attention among Browns observers with that description of his game. Those who haven't seen him consistently might note he has only 12 career sacks, but the fact is, he's been very good at racking up pressures across his 2 seasons in the NFL, and that's why he won the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2024 and made back-to-back Pro Bowls. 12 sacks is the raw number, but pressures tell the fuller story. Through 2 seasons in LA, Verse tallied 22 tackles for loss and 189 total pressures per PFF. He doesn't just get to the quarterback. When it's easy, he makes the pocket smaller, tighter, more suffocating every single snap. That relentless quality is what coaches mean when they talk about a defensive end who changes the game even when he doesn't register a stat. And now he's talking about applying that to a 4-3 defensive end role in Cleveland, and he's genuinely excited about it. Because here's the thing about Verse that his time in LA may be kept slightly hidden. He's returning to the state in which he was born with this trade, and he's also shifting from outside linebacker in a 3-4 base front with the Rams to a defensive end in a 4-3 look with the Browns. That shift on paper is huge. In the 3-4, you're asked to read, to drop, to be disciplined and patient. Now, this is an attacking front, and that's kind of my style. Verse said, "I'm very attacking. I want to get to it. I want to have a defined situation. Just be able to do my thing. Every time without having to think too much, without having to slow down and read keys." And it is exactly that. I like it a lot. He's essentially saying that the Rams system, as successful as it was, wasn't a perfect fit for what he does at his most dangerous. And now in Cleveland's attacking 4-3 front, he gets to be fully unleashed. That's a sentence that should make every offensive tackle in the AFC North lose sleep. The hope for the Browns is that if Verse is angry with the Rams for trading him, he will spend the foreseeable future trying to prove to them how wrong they were to do so. And based on everything he said at that podium, that hope seems well-founded. Verse isn't hiding his motivation, he's advertising it. He described his approach to football as the pursuit of proving doubters wrong, a pursuit that has shaped every chapter of his life, from that single college offer to the first-round podium to the trade that sent him east. The chip doesn't come off. It just gets heavier and heavier chips on shoulders. Belonging to 25-year-old defensive ends with 4.58 speed, that's a problem for every quarterback in this division. If Jared Verse's words were just about himself, just the bravado of a player trying to establish himself on a new team, that would be one thing. But what made his press conference different? What made it genuinely resonate beyond the usual "I'm excited to be here" routine was what he said about Cleveland, about the locker room, about the culture he walked into, because he didn't have to say any of this. He could have given a nothing answer about buying into the process and moved on. Instead, he looked into those cameras and defended a franchise that most of the football world has spent the last 25 years making jokes about. When you go into a younger team and a younger situation, a lot of people have their heads all over the place. Some people are talking too much and think we don't take this seriously. He paused, and then, here, they want to work too much, be focused, and driven. That is a testament to the coaching staff and the new foundation that everyone's about to lay down. We may be a year apart, 2 years apart, but all we care about is how we can be the best version of ourselves on that field. When you know someone, you play harder for them. That's a veteran speaking, a man who's been in winning locker rooms and losing ones, who's felt the difference between a team that practices to fill time and a team that practices with purpose. And Verse is telling you which one this is. His first week in the building, his first OTA, and he's already convinced. Verse's first comments as a Brown offered an encouraging glimpse into the culture that head coach Todd Monken is trying to build in Cleveland. And Monken's fingerprints are all over this rebuild, with Verse now on the Browns alongside linebacker Carson Schwessinger, the 2025 Defensive Rookie of the Year. Cleveland now has the last 2 NFL Defensive Rookies of the Year on the same roster. That's not an accident. That's a front office that knows what it's doing. Verse also laid out his philosophy on what actually gets a team to the playoffs. And it was the kind of answer that's more coaching clinic than press conference soundbite. During the regular season, every game matters. Before the regular season, you have the preseason. Before preseason, you have camp. Before camp, you have today. The first thing before worrying about the playoffs is making the playoffs. Once you get there, the margin for error is so small. You can't mess up. If you take one step too wide, boom, the B-gap's wide open, and they're running the ball for 60 yards downfield. You take one step too small, the edge is wide open. That's a man who's been in playoff football, who's felt what it means to make a mistake in January and watch your season end because of it. The Rams reached the NFC Championship game in 2025, falling to the Seattle Seahawks. And Verse carries that playoff experience into Cleveland, and his new teammates were watching closely. Edge rusher Alex Wright, one of the veterans on that defensive line, spoke about what Verse's arrival means for the guys already in the building. There's a weight to what Verse brings. Not just his skill, but his expectation level, his standard. When a 2-time Pro Bowler walks into your practice facility and tells you in week 1 that you don't look like a losing team, that means something. That raises the floor of what everyone around him believes is possible. I'm happy to be part of the Browns and that they believed in me. I truly do believe in everybody in the locker room. I had 2 choices, work or give up. I ain't never been a quitter. That's the line that the whole locker room heard. That's the one that echoes in the weight room at 6 in the morning when it's easier to skip a rep. Part 5. the number 8 problem. But not everything about Jared Verse's arrival in Cleveland was a clean, feel-good story. Because before his press conference had even fully aired, something else was already generating noise. Something that on the surface looked like a sideshow, but quickly revealed itself to be a window into much bigger questions about this Browns roster. He showed up to his first practice in Berea wearing number 8. Reports from Browns practices showed Verse wearing number 8, a number that is already assigned to quarterback Dillon Gabriel. Now, in the NFL, jersey number situations get sorted out all the time. A veteran arrives, wants his number, pays the incumbent. Done. It's business. In many cases, when a veteran player arrives on a new team and wants a specific jersey number, discussions take place behind the scenes. Often, the player currently holding the number is compensated or agrees to give it up voluntarily. But the optics here were something different, because this isn't just any number on any player. Gabriel is a quarterback who is losing the battle to start for the Cleveland Browns against Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. So when Verse walks in on day one and effectively takes his number, whether intentionally or not, the internet does what the internet does. There were fans who believed Gabriel and Verse were feuding. After all, one post about it pulled about 4 million views on X. NFL rules permit 2 players to wear duplicate jersey numbers during the off-season workout program and training camp, when rosters are expanded, but needless to say, this number predicament will have to get sorted out at some point. According to the Beacon Journal, the Browns roster for the OTA lists Verse wearing jersey number 8, the same number he wore during both seasons with the Rams. He wore it through his Defensive Rookie of the Year season, through his first Pro Bowl. He wore it in playoff games. He wore it in the NFC Championship. That number isn't just a number to him, it's part of who he is. And Gabriel, he started 6 games as a rookie, but has been taking practice reps behind Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson, as the latter 2 compete to be the Browns' starting quarterback. So not only is he potentially losing his starting job to 2 other quarterbacks, now a dominant defensive end with 2 Pro Bowls under his belt has shown up wearing his number on day 1, seemingly without any conversation about it. Perception matters in the NFL, especially when emotions are already running high after a blockbuster trade. For a player stepping into the spotlight following Garrett's departure, any controversy is likely to be magnified. What the jersey situation really does beyond the noise is crystallize just how much this Browns organization has changed in a very short period of time. The Browns made one of the most shocking moves of the NFL offseason when they traded franchise cornerstone Myles Garrett to the Rams. In return, Cleveland received rising star Jared Verse along with valuable draft capital. But the move immediately sparked strong reactions from fans and players, who viewed Garrett as the face of the organization. And now Verse is that face, whether he asked for it or not. Whether the number situation with Gabriel gets cleaned up quietly behind closed doors or turns into something more, Verse is already the center of gravity on this defense. He's the 25-year-old pass rusher who was the main return piece in the Myles Garrett trade, along with 3 draft picks, including a 2027 first-rounder. And though he's not being asked to be the next Garrett, he's likely to fill his shoes, both on the field and as a defensive spokesman and leader. That's a massive ask, and Jared Verse answered it at a podium in Berea, with something that will be replaying in the minds of offensive linemen across the AFC North all offseason long. I'm not here to fill anyone's shoes. Myles is a Nike size 13. I'm a size 13.5 or 14 Jordans. Everybody's different. I'm here to bring my own. I'm here to work and here to be the best version of me, which will be the best defensive player in the league, playing for the best defense in the league, the best defensive player in the league, playing for the best defense in the league, said to a franchise that hasn't won a playoff game in 3 decades, said on day 1, said without flinching. Maybe that's what Cleveland has been missing. Not just a pass rusher, not just a Pro Bowler, but a guy who believes loudly, publicly, without apology, that where he's going is somewhere worth going. The kind of belief that, if it spreads through a locker room, changes what a team thinks it's capable of. You can tell how a team is by how they practice. It translates. That's not a losing team out there. He said it after his first day, his first few hours on the field with these guys, and he meant it. That might be the most dangerous thing Jared Verse said all week. Not the violent comment, not the shoe size line, not the "I was upset" admission, The most dangerous thing was that, after everything, after leaving a Super Bowl contender and landing in Cleveland, he looked around and he liked what he saw.